welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. Thankfully, I feel a little better and all of that good stuff. Generally speaking, the Vikings looked better than they did last week against a pretty crappy opponent who was, obviously, let's be honest, the coaches and all that were fighting for their job, I think, in that game. I think that fight may have hit a wall today. We'll talk about that much later, late in the second segment recording. But then again, we'll get back to where I'm trying to get to. The Minnesota Vikings today went into Nashville, Tennessee, and came out feeling all right. Could have been better, but certainly could have been a hell of a lot worse. 23-13, a 10-point win. I think that's about where I was leading towards, a 10-point win. Minnesota Vikings 8-2 on the season. Definitely not bad, but certainly could have been better. There were some moments. Obviously, you had a 98-yard touchdown given up. You had that. Yeah, you had opportunities lost. You had a missed extra point, which is annoying as well. You had a dropped sure touchdown. So that's 14 points basically. Well, 15 points if you add the extra point missed by Romo. That's an urban legend right there. We'll get back to that later. But yes, a dropped touchdown by a certain player. We'll get to that in a minute. And a 98-yard touchdown given up as well with a bad angle from a certain other player. Well, both of them will be candidates, I'm sure, for the Ponder Award. Spoiler alert. Also, spoiler alert, the Vikings are still stuck in second place, not just because the tiebreaker with the Detroit Lions is in favor of Detroit at the moment, but they won too. Damn it. So, Detroit's 9-1, Minnesota's 8-2. Great record, no doubt about it, but stuck in second place at the moment, and we got to work with it for now. 8-2 is a wonderful record. We don't get to see that all the time, but here we are. Comfortable, well, not a comfortable win in Nissan Stadium, yet at the same time it kind of was. Were you ever really scared in this game? I kind of wasn't. Now, losing the ball was really scary. There's no doubt about that. Losing a fumble was insanely scary and insanely frustrating, and it was stupid and stuff. That was scary. Tennessee could have went up 7-0. Vikings, of course, winning the toss, deferring again, and that's something I used to think about playing way back in the day in the early 90s. I was thinking, why not defer? So I was kind of ahead of the times. I can brag about that. It is a fact. I remember always thinking that whenever I'd play like little video games, I would defer when I'd win the toss. And I think a lot of people back then thought that was one of the dumbest things ever. Now, it's not one of the dumbest things ever. So maybe I was just ahead of the times a little bit. Yeah, it's all about me, right? No, it's not. But a back and forth kind of a first quarter a bit. Vikings end up leading 7-3. You feel good about that. Looked like Sam Darnold was about to get hit. Looked like there was going to be a problem, and then he was able to. It also looked like a broken up play. Darnold was able to find Jordan Addison up the middle. That was awesome. Who broke free? Broke free for a 47-yard touchdown. John Parker Roma made his first extra point attempt. Sorry about that, a coughing fit suddenly coming up on me. I don't know what the heck that was all about, because I don't think I have a cold anymore, but who knows. Whatever it is, it is. I'm seeing something where the Vikings beat Houston real bad years ago. It's showing a video on NFL.com. That's interesting. But anyhow, yes, big play right there. We all appreciated it very much. One thing I was going to get to as well, Cincinnati and the LA Chargers are already flashing on the screen. Had to start this show a little later than normal. Unfortunately, it kind of sucks for me, but I had work to do outside with the schedule and all that. So it is what it is. You got the game, and now let's get going. Go. Just work. No rest for the wicked. And now I'm doing the podcast. So that's kind of how that goes. Sorry, not sure what's going on here. Hopefully I can get through the show without choking to death. Nick Folk continuing to make field goals 39 yards or less. So always nice that he's not doing a Blair Walsh and missing easy ones. So good for Nick Folk. He's been a legend now with the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, he's had success elsewhere. Also, Sam Darnold's much sharper today, and I mean much the frick sharper. Overall, I'd have to say He also was able to rush up the middle for a touchdown. He was very mobile today, helping the Vikings get first downs or getting close enough to a first down that the Vikings were able to get the first down on the next play, either like diving forward or whatever the situation was. Like, okay, it's 4th and 1 or whatever, and then he was able to get it with Sam Darnold. So appreciate that on those 4th down conversions. And again, picking up yards in certain situations where it looked like it was going to wind up being possibly a sack or just a broken play and throwing the ball away, but able to get the first down with that mobility that Sam Darnold does possess. And Kirk Cousins had some, but not enough, really, at the end of the day. Great game by Sam Darnold. I mean, I'm going to just keep saying it. John Parker Romo, urban legend in a lot of ways. This is our urban legend of the day. This is one of them anyway. Maybe there's two. This is for sure one, though. He made his first 4 field goal attempts, and then he misses on his second point after attempt or whatever, PAT. Yep, he missed his second PAT, so now he's 1-1 when it comes to that, or at least after. Yep, but he did make his third, so he's 2 for 3 so far with his PATs. Is John Parker Roma, but it's just funny. His first missed kick in the NFL as a place kicker of any kind was at PAT. Oh my God, I can't handle this. Not sure what's going on with that, so I apologize. But yeah, that was kind of what it was like, though. That's what his PAT was like. Just, nailing everything and then missed the PAT. What the hell? So 13-3 at the time after Darnold had rushed up the middle. And then he did make, Parker made his 5th consecutive field goal. 5-0 for his field goal attempts. 5 for 5, 40-yarder. So he's like a Nick Folk, you could say, in that sense, making all of his kicks. Good job, John Parker Romo, or Parker Romo, or whatever he wants to call himself. He's definitely not going to bring home any Ponder Memorial, so that's a spoiler alert, you could say, generally speaking. Will Levis would have moments where he looked like there's something there, and then he also had moments where there's not much there. There really isn't. Had some mobility for a minute there, but generally speaking, not much, and the Vikings were able to pressure Will Levis into some throwaways and ultimately a mistake as well. A Harrison Smith interception, which in a lot of ways iced the game, and pretty much it did. Aaron Jones was below average, which is kind of what he's been about half of the season. I'd say Aaron Jones has been below average. Cam Akers had a couple of moments. That 12-yard long, that was the longest run of the day, including Sam Darnold. Yep, he had a 6-yard long. That Tennessee defense is pretty strong. Obviously, they don't give up a whole lot of yards, and we're number 1 in the NFL in terms of pass yards given up. But of course, the Tennessee Titans are often behind, so teams would run the ball on them much more often because you're trying to burn the clock. There was that. Aaron Jones, 15 rushes, 39 yards, and long of 5. That's just insane. It's pretty low. So yeah, it's not the greatest day on the ground for either team. Tony Pollard, 9 rushes for 15 yards. What the heck is that? TJ Spears, 4 rushes for no yards. There was a TFL in there mixed in, and along with 4, but ultimately no yards because of the TFLs. So great job by the Vikings defense, generally speaking, and great job by Sam Darnold. He did lose a fumble, unfortunately. It was a botched exchange with Aaron Jones and accredited against Sam Darnold. So that sucks. Darnold has had a number of fumble losses. Definitely, there's the grape jelly stain there. Unfortunately, could it be partially Jones' fault? Usually, situations like that they are, but in this case, it just counts against Darnold. Cam Akers again did have that 12-yard run, but overall, the run defense on both clubs was pretty damn good. Overall, I would have to say, Justin Jefferson is the greatest receiver in the history of the NFL now. 5 seasons into his career. Number 1 all time now. He passed Torrey Holt. Randy Moss was the first guy. Then there's Torrey Holt. Randy Moss was like second all time in yardage in his first 5 seasons in the NFL. Justin Jefferson is the all-time greatest receiver in the first 5 seasons of their NFL career. So great, and he's got 7 more games to go. So his first 5 seasons, it's a record that's going to be tough to break, I got to think, because he's got, again, 7 more games, and if Justin Jefferson can stay healthy and all of that, where last year he kind of didn't. Just think about it if he was able to stay healthy last year. So pretty amazing run by Justin Jefferson. 6 catches, 81 yards, did not get in the end zone. Dropped a touchdown, had the ball batted away by the defender, so that's kind of how that goes, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes at the end of the day. I believe it was Baker. Darrell Baker Jr. had a strong overall performance with 2 pass deflections in the game and no interceptions for any Jacksonville player. Tennessee player, excuse me. I just called him Jacksonville. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm getting the AFC mixed up, I guess. AFC Championship mixed up. Pat Jones, who had a number of sacks to start out the season. He had 2 sacks, I think, in 2 weeks in a row. He had 4 sacks in the first 2 games of the season. If you do the extremely simple math there, 2 plus 2 is 4. Yeah, at least I thought so. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. It is. Andrew Van Ginkel also added 2 sacks, and as did Blake Cashman, who had a strong start to the game. And again, he's one of those guys who, he's always a factor everywhere he goes. It's just a matter if he can stay healthy. But every time he's on the field, he's a factor one way or another. Stephon Gilmore was beat on the 98-yard touchdown, but it wasn't really as much his fault as Josh Metellus, as could at least have stopped the play. Like, Gilmore would have been beat for maybe 15 to 20 yards or something, which is not good. But Metellus took a bad, stupid angle on the receiver for Tennessee. That would be Nick Westbrook Akin, who had 117 yards and 2 catches because one of his catches was a 98-yard touchdown. Yeah, the other was a 19-yard play for a first down. So a first down and a touchdown. He was targeted 6 times but only had 2 catches. Calvin Ridley, one of the better receivers in football, with 4 catches and 58 yards, but did not get in the end zone, much to his chagrin, I'm sure. Jordan Addison is the only, well, no, he's not the only guy. He did get in the end zone with a receiving touchdown. Again, the 47-yard play up the middle was able to take off and scamper to pay dirt ultimately in the end. Cam Akers also with another receiving touchdown like he had earlier with the Houston Texans against the Minnesota Vikings this year. Cam Akers scored a receiving touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings. Remember? Houston Texans was the only score they made the whole game. It was Cam Akers. Isn't that the darndest thing? I was like, Cam, look at you. You're my guy, Cam. You're not supposed to score against us. And then I was like, dang it. I thought he was coming back to Minnesota, but then ultimately wound up with Houston. And then still, well, he winds up getting traded back to Minnesota, which, again, put a big smile on my face. Cam Akers is one of my guys, if you didn't notice. Every year, and in a lot of cases, it's like a 5 to 6, 7, 8 year span or a 2-year span. There's a player that I identify that's kind of underrated, that I think is kind of underrated and deserves more credit than they get, like a Jerry is right. I mean, he was just so reliable. He was so good. And then there was this. Why am I blanking on the guy that was here for a while? KJ Osborne, KJ Clutch. I just loved him. And another number 17. I think there were 3 consecutive 17s. Jerry is right. I would always say my guy, Jerry is right. And then KJ Osborne was another number 17. And I think there was another one mixed in there as well, if I could get it correct. But now there's number 27. Last year was 31. I like 31 better. 27 is a weird number. It's weird. It's like, it should be like for a safety or a cornerback, not a running back. But yeah, Cam Akers has been that guy the last 2 years. Like, dang it, get him more involved. He did have 10 rushes in the game, though. So yes, I'd like to see more of that, even though the numbers weren't all that sexy. Aaron Jones didn't fare a whole lot better, did he? So let's just be freaking blunt and honest about that at the end of the day. You did have a funny, tush-push play as well with Darnold getting a first down on one of those short yardage plays. You also saw Jalen Naylor just, not able to ring in a catch that would have been a sure touchdown. Would have made this game a flat-out blowout. It would have been a blowout. Then it should have been a blowout. And again, that 98-yard touchdown given up with the bad angle with Josh Metellus. Metellus was hurt earlier in the game. That may have had something to do with it, but still insanely frustrating, to say the least. Ryan Wright had a touchback in the game. That sucked. Absolutely. Ty Chandler did have a 35-yard kick return, which is awesome. So that's something that doesn't happen very often in today's special teams, today's NFL. You don't see a whole lot of long kick returns. Brandon Powell even had a couple of punt returns that were halfway decent. It's just, about 17 yards total on 2 returns, 8.5. That's not bad for a punt return, because there's just not a whole lot of space to work with a lot of times for punt returners. Though I suppose I keep calling him Jacksonville, and I'm seeing Jackson. Jaquan Jackson, yeah. Had 2 punt returns that were actually better than Brandon Powell's. 13 yard average, that ain't bad. So Good for him, I guess, at the end of the day. But Ty Chandler, a 35-yard kick return. That's really nice, actually. Put the Vikings in nice field goal range. Put the Vikings in nice field position to say it a little more, like have it make a little more sense at the end of the day. TJ Hawkinson, not sure what's up with this, but yeah, only 2 catches with 13 yards. Jeez, TJ Hawkinson's one of the highest paid tight ends in football. You're hoping for a little more than that, but maybe it just wasn't his day. And of course, again, the Tennessee defense is pretty good. It's underrated, to say the least. Like statistically, they got it going on. Statistically, it's just that the wins and losses, they're 2-8. They're a reciprocal of the 8-2 Minnesota Vikings. It's just one of those kind of games where, as long as the correct team wins in this situation, you can have a reciprocal effect. 8-2 Vikings, 2-8 Tennessee Titans. Yes, strong overall 10-game run for the Minnesota Vikings to open up this season. Obviously, we're a ways in now. Still a week away from Thanksgiving because it's much later this year than, it's later. It's a week later this year than other years. Cincinnati trying to get something going here against the Los Angeles Chargers, or 6-3. Cincinnati's 4-6. In a lot of ways, they're kind of at the end here. They better get something going quick. I mean, if you lose 7 games, you can still win up to 10, but I doubt Cincinnati goes undefeated if they lose their 7th game tonight. Oh, God, it's frustrating. Cincinnati should be better. They should. Up, and there's the other Bosa. Is it Joey Bosa of the Los Angeles Chargers, the San Diego Superchargers? Sounds a heck of a lot better. Bosa. Well, I'm guessing if he's Bosa, he might wear the same hat as his brother. And good for him. Yep, I'll leave that right where that is. Ender Van Ginkel, like I said, 2 sacks, and he had 8 total tackles. He did get one of the game balls, according to Kevin O'Connell. Mr. Sam Darnold got one of the game balls, as did the guy with 2 sacks. The other guy with 2 sacks, Pat Jones. Pat Jones the second, 2 sacks. Good for Pat. Doesn't he have does he have 7 now or something? So good season for him. Ender Van Ginkel's got 8, which is amazing. I believe that's a career high for him already. And again, you got 7 games to go, so that's pretty cool. Barry Murphy Jr.'s had a strong overall season, and everyone knows that. Really appreciate Harrison Smith, again, with a pass deflection and an interception coming in. He was not burned on the play. Unfortunately, that was the other guy, the other safety, and who's been fantastic most of the way, but not today, unfortunately. And it's okay. Guys have a bad game, and luckily the Vikings survived it. It was just a bad moment, unfortunately. A mistake, maybe bad timing. And once the timing was off, the angle was off, and it is what it is. It all snowballs into a real ugly situation, unfortunately, for our guy, Josh Metellus, who we all appreciate very much. Sam Darnold, welcome back to the Fran Tarkenton Award. Great job. Sam Darnold getting another Fran Tarkenton Award, but there's going to be a secondary one, and it's going to go on the defense, and that will be Andrew Van Ginkel. 2 sacks, 8 total tackles. An amazing day for Hulk Hogan's little brother. No, Hulk Hogan's son. I don't know. I'm just messing around with the long blonde hair. But AVG, all that's missing is nerd. Angry video game nerd. Supposedly, isn't Andrew Van Ginkel a gamer too? But maybe he's a modern gamer, and yeah, I'll pass. I'm a retro gamer, dang it. Video Game Flashback, check out the podcast. Also, speaking of retro, if you want to hear about there was a North Stars documentary this week talking about what happened basically with Norm Green and all that when the North Stars moved out of town after the 92-93 season. Very depressing and awful, and it created a jackass of a franchise called the Dallas Stars. Yeah, everyone hates them with a passion. Yeah. Well, there's a documentary about all of that, and I talk about it a bit, and my thoughts on what could have been on Brave the Wild podcast. Check it out. It's got the North Stars logo right on that episode. Check it out if you want to. So speaking of retro talk right there, what could have been? Like if you're a hockey fan, yeah, Brave the Wild is for you. Let me tell you. And that episode, if you're a North Stars fan especially, which fortunately I'm old enough to be a North Stars fan, not just the Wild. Off topic, sorry. But yes, Mr. Sam Darnold, welcome back to the Fran Award. I mean, it feels much better, doesn't it, than being over there in the Ponder area? Christian Ponder Memorial. Oof. You don't want to be over there, especially if you're the starting quarterback of the team. You don't want to be compared with Christian frickin' Ponder, do ya? Oof. Andrew Van Ginkel, yep, right there in that Fran Award as well. Getting his own Fran Award for this week. Great job. Sometimes when it's like somebody on the offense and somebody on the defense stand out to that level, I end up doing that. It's kind of like I end up going KOC on it. Okay, Kevin O'Connell on it, and flinging some game balls around. And that's those two game balls definitely go to those guys. And Pat Jones, great game too. Nice to see him jumping back up again. Good job, man. Good job, man. The Christian Ponder Memorial. I'm sorry, we got to pass this out too, and this could go to two players, and it's going to go to two players. Well, both plays again that cost us 14 points. You know who these players are? Josh Metellus. I'm sorry, I have to do it. I'm sorry. Might be picking on a guy who got hurt too, unfortunately. But Josh Metellus, bad angle, man. I mean, I can't believe that happened. I'm sorry, Josh, because I know you're a wonderful player, but this week you have to bring home that Ponder Memorial. Sorry. And the other guy who's going to bring it home, oh, you know who it is. The guy who, had a sure touchdown and he dropped it. And I don't know, next thing you know, we're like punting the ball away. It's just depressing like you wouldn't believe. And that'd be that son of a gun who's been awful ever since a really strong start to the season. Jalen Naylor has not been nailing anything. Like, he nailed it. Jalen nailed it. You could have like that. Say he had a great game. Maybe that'd be the title of an episode. Jalen ain't nailing nothing. He's swinging and missing. 2 targets, no catches. Yuck. A bunch of zeros, Jalen. That's a 0 of a game, and you get to bring home the Ponder Memorial with our buddy Josh Metellus, and that's a bummer. Oh, there's another Cam. There's about 1 million Cams in the NFL, aren't there? Cam. Wasn't there a Cam Baker? Of course, right? Why am I thinking about Cam Baker? But yeah, Cam Akers. Yeah, there's a Cam Baker somewhere, and I'm blanking on that one. Cam Newton, Cam Akers, Cam Robinson, Cam Bynum. It's like, yep, Cam Bynum. There was even a Cam, what was his name? Cam Dantzler. Yeah, Cam Dantzler, what are you doing? Remember that soundbite? Man, the NFL has a lot of Cams, aren't there? It's a lot of Cams. Even Ken Caminiti, that's a last name, though. And it's much more Italian sounding. Ken Caminiti played for the San Diego Padres back in the day, and the Houston Astros. Okay, sorry. Yes. Remember those days, though? Good player, good third baseman, Ken Caminiti. Hell of a player back in the day for Major League Baseball, 80s and 90s, y'all. I don't know. I mean, I guess those are my thoughts for this overall game. I mean, it wasn't a great game. It was kind of ugly again, but it was less ugly than last week. I mean, 12-7 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't care if you're at home or on the road. That was 12-7. That's garbage. And you see what Detroit did to Jacksonville today. Yes, it was a home game for Detroit, but I'm sure that made a huge difference. Oh no, it had nothing to do with Jacksonville being bad and Detroit being good or anything. No, but that's the other thing that's frustrating for us. Yeah, we beat Jacksonville. Well, we beat them by 5 frickin' points. The defense was fantastic after a shitty opening drive, basically, by Jacksonville. Or was it the second drive of the game? And then our offense just sputtered around. And like Spurgeon Wynn's at quarterback. It felt like it. It felt like Spurgeon Wynn was the quarterback of the Vikings. And then you have, Spurgeon Wynn was like the quarterback of the Vikings, basically, last week. But then this week, much better. Matlock. Boy, that's distracting. One of the Chargers linebackers is named Matlock. Benjamin Matlock for the defense, Your Honor. Please represent me, Ben. I didn't do it. I'm telling you, I didn't do it. No, he's not a linebacker. He's a tight end. Sorry. Now you have a guy who looked like he got hit out of bounds. Yeah, he did. Oh, that looks like a shoulder injury for Mr. number 15 there, McConkey. Well, you got Matlock over there. He can represent you. He can, he can help sue that player. So, okay, I'm going off into La La Land here. I apologize. I can't help it. Yeah, that was a late hit, Taylor Britt. What are you doing? Anyhow, sorry for that. I'm babbling now, but I passed out the awards. I'd have more to say, but it's just, it was a funky kind of game again. Funky, but better than last week. And great, again, great resurgence by Sam Darnold. Because it was really a positive thing. Really nice to see. I mean, it felt like positive vibes all over again when we beat the New York Giants, kind of. It was kind of like that. because even that game, it felt like it could have been a bigger blowout than it was. But it was a pretty comfortable win by the Vikings. There's no doubt about that. Chargers scored their touchdown immediately after that wild hit out of bounds there, which could have injured a guy's shoulder. It looked like it did. So Chargers celebrating at the moment. Anyhow, we'll take a quick break, come back, and look around the National Football League and preview the upcoming game with Chicago. And we are back here on Purple Mafia. No rest for the wicked. Let's get right back to work here with the timing and everything. Back to work, Joey. Back to work. The Rams. The Chargers lead 7-3. That's Sunday Night Football, of course. Monday Night Football is a Texas Bowl right there. Dallas Cowboys. 3-6 Cowboys hosting the Houston Texans, who got beat last week, who were doing so well against Detroit, and ultimately lost. Unfortunately. Well, Thursday Night Football, another pretty good one. Between two teams trying to win that NFC East, and it's looking more like Philadelphia is going to get that job done. After an awful start to the season, the Philadelphia Eagles have the same record as who? The Minnesota Vikings. 8-2 on the season. Philadelphia Eagles with their crazy coach. A lot of people, what's his name? Sirianni. I don't know. Why doesn't he bug me as much as he bugs like everybody else? And, there's a lot of players and coaches in sports that I just loathe. Steph Curry's right at the top. Travis Kelce, guys like I just can't stand those sons of. I can't stand him. I can't stand Steve Kerr. I'm not a big fan of Greg Popovich, but that's all basketball. Football, Tyreek Hill, God, he got under my skin for a while. I couldn't stand him. Sean Payton, no, I don't like him either. I'm with pretty much everybody on that one. Sirianni, though, I don't know. I don't know why he bugs everyone as much as he does. I guess he's kind of an ass, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just not paying attention. Maybe I'm wearing Fly Eagle Fly like shades or whatever ever since the Chiefs and Eagles kicked off in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. It's like I have a soft spot for the Eagles ever since, because I just want the Chiefs to lose, that's all. Saquon Barkley kicked some butoxis. He might be the MVP of football this year. He's that good. Oh my God, he's been good on the Eagles. Oh, he has been unreal. Saquon Barkley had a Patrick Mahomes-like game. Not the ones that we remember, where it was 350 yards and 4 touchdowns every week. Remember those? Almost every single week. 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, maybe throw an interception, but usually not. It's like the Patrick Mahomes of this year, without the interception, which he might throw. No touchdowns, no interceptions, 200 yards. 18 of 28, You could even say Jaden Daniels on the other sideline there for the Washington Commanders. He also had 10 incompletions, 22 of 32, 191, 1 touchdown, and 1 grape jelly stain interception. Yes, I like to refer to that all the time. Saquon Barkley, 26. This is just Tecmo Bowl football right here. Over 5.5 a carry, 146 yards on 26, 2 touchdowns. And remember how Tecmo Bowl is. When the running game's going, you just keep going at it and going and going and going and go. That's what it's like. Especially if there's like you have Bo Jackson, who's basically untackleable in that game. He's unstoppable if you know what you're doing, which I don't, but other people do. Where you could literally have Bo Jackson run across the field and run backwards, the other direction, and then back again. Like basically run 300 yards without getting tackled. That's pretty weird. I've never successfully done that, but that's how good Bo Jackson was. And I guess Saquon Barkley feels like a Bo Jackson right now this season. He's just been great. I'll say again, he is an MVP candidate in my book. He's awesome, and he's on my fantasy team too. So huge luck there. Definitely the MVP of the Purple Mafia podcast fantasy team. Finally righting the ship this week, from what I can tell. Jalen Hurts did rush the ball into the end zone on Thursday, yes, so he did score something. Didn't throw any, but he did get in the end zone in a 40 yards overall. 3.9 a carry, 10 rushes. Simple math there. Even Kenneth Gainwell was gaining very well in the game. averaged 10.5 yards a carry, 4 rushes, 43 yards. He was gaining well. Isn't that a perfect name for a running back? It is. Brian Robinson Jr., one of the better solid running backs in all of football. One of the better ones. Not great, but one of the better ones. 63 yards on the ground and got in the end zone, 4 yards a carry. Solid. Absolutely good. Terry McLaurin, thank you very much for a 10-yard catch. Thanks, Terry. Thanks. You can guess where Terry resides in the fantasy world. Austin Eckler, 8 catches, 89 yards. Good job. A.J. Brown, 5 catches, 65 yards. Okay, I've babbled enough. But the Eagles won the football game. That's what matters at the end of the day. 2 sacks for Frankie Louvu of Washington. And then Philadelphia had 3. Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, and Brandon Graham. Eagles. Fly, Eagle, fly. 26-18. 8-2 on the year. Washington drops to 7-5. Okay, 2 divisional games that I cannot talk about yet. It's too early because that's the NFC North Roundup. The Miami Dolphins have awakened. I believe, was it last week as well? I was watching the Dolphins on, was it Monday night? I think, yeah, because I had Veterans Day off. Wasn't that awesome? I believe that was Monday Night Football. They looked pretty good. And they won again today, and they're only 4-6. What the heck? Isn't that sad? Frickin' Tua, just if you could just please stay healthy, Tua. Because I like Tua, dang it. He's a good player, and Dolphins are awesome when he's healthy. I like the Dolphins, dang it. Tyreek Hill, 61 yards, 7 catches, a touchdown. Jonnu Smith, 6 yards, 101, 2 touchdown catches. Good. Tua. 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions, no fumbles lost. And he didn't run the ball either, which is good. Just don't bother, Tua. Just don't bother unless it's just a safe, quick, and slide. Because, yeah, concussions, and stuff, that stuff. 288 yards. Gardner Minshew, solid game. Also 43 attempts because they were behind. 30 completions, 2 touchdowns, and the grape jelly interceptione, which is kind of expected. Alexander Madison had 3 catches, 53 yards, scampering around, using that mobility. Alexander Madison, he ran the ball like he did with the Vikings last year. 5 rushes, 19 yards. Yay. But, I remember Madison being pretty damn good, though, with some of those third down situations, kind of that Chester Taylor role, getting those catches and scampering a little bit for those first downs. But, he had a pretty good game. He had 3 nice plays, basically, in that sense, including a 31-yarder. Brock Bowers with 13 catches. That's very notable. 126 yards and a touchdown for the Autumn Wind. But the Autumn Wind is a breeze this year. They ain't good. 2-8. The Autumn Breeze. The Autumn Calm. They're not much of a wind. There's not much of a wind there in Oakland, or Las Vegas, sorry. Congratulations, Miami. Too bad it's kind of late, but they still have a chance to get in the postseason, I'm sure. Los Angeles Rams against the Patriots. This was the Super Bowl years ago, and the Patriots won in a very low-scoring football game, shutting down that Rams team with Jared Goff at quarterback and the upstart Rams with their exciting new coach and all that cute stuff. I was happy to see the Patriots win that game just because. I'd rather see I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to see the Gen Xers beat the Millennials and Gen Zs. Sometimes it is. Because what generation am I from? Not Millennial or Gen Z. Matthew Stafford, one of his best games ever. 295 yards in the air, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Awesome game by Matthew Stafford. Only 27 attempts. It's incredible. Drake May, 40 attempts because the Patriots are playing from behind. Had 2 touchdowns and an interception. Drake May's been okay, though. Let's be fair. He did lose a fumble, so 2 turnovers credited to your guy, Drake May, unfortunately. Kyron Williams, 86 yards on the ground. Did not get in the end zone one way or the other, unfortunately. Cooper Kupp with 2 touchdowns and 106 yards. Puka Nacua rolls right off your tongue. 7 catches, 123 yards, and 1 touchdown. Good for him. Rams win 28-22 over the Patriots. I'm surprised the Patriots were that close, considering how well the Rams actually played. It was a highlight reel for the Rams today, and they only won by 6. Weird. The New Orleans Saints coming back to life with 2 wins now since Dennis Allen was let go. They beat the Brown Bags today. Cleveland Brown Bags in New Orleans, the Caesars Superdome, 35-14. Oh, Vince, I am sorry, man. I don't like calling them the Brown Bags. I like the Cleveland Browns. But the Brown Bags, it's a bag of something inside it, maybe, possibly. That's why they're the Brown Bags. Or they're the bags you wear over your face, because like you're embarrassed, your team stinks. Yeah, well, they stink. And Jameis Winston played really good. Let's be fair, he didn't lose a fumble either. He didn't. 46 attempts, 30 completions, 395 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's crazy to think about. And that Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who used to play for the Dolphins and was just awful. I believe the Vikings played against him recently. Derek Carr, a couple of touchdown passes for the Saints. And Taysom Hill on one of those fun plays threw an INT. He completed one pass and he threw an interception on the other. But Taysom Hill running the ball was epic. Got in the end zone 3 times, but he did fumble the ball through. Jeez, Taysom, what's wrong with you, man? 138 yards on the ground, 75-yard long scamper for Taysom Hill. Great performance overall, but again, multiple turnovers, so it's kind of annoying. Saints getting a little bit wild and crazy out there, but they still win the game comfortably over Cleveland. And they're now 4-7, kind of knocking on the door a little bit, but I wouldn't get too excited. Colts and Jets, this sounds like a classic matchup way back in the day. Doesn't it? Doesn't this sound like an old Super Bowl or something, or an AFC Championship game or something in like the late 60s? It sure does. You think of the Baltimore Colts with Johnny Unitas, Joe Namath on the other side. Nowadays you look at the Colts and the Jets, and it's, well, you do have a legendary quarterback of the Jets, but he wasn't on the Jets his whole career. He was a Packer. That'd be A-Raj. 184 yards with 2 touchdowns and did not lose the ball. Breece Hall also got in the end zone. Good job, Breece. 78 yards and a TD. Anthony Richardson, nice comeback for him. After Joe Flacco kind of fell off the face of the earth the last couple of weeks against the Vikings and last week as well. 272 yards in the air, a touchdown and no interception, but he did lose a fumble. Come on, Richardson. But he did run the ball in twice, so a little Taysom Hill action. But didn't quite have the 132 yards that Taysom Hill had. But still, good performance. He had the 32 yards, just not 132, that's all. Did throw a TD to Josh Downs. Devontae Adams had 72 yards in the air. And Breece Hall, multi-touchdown game with the run-in and the receiving touchdown. Good job, Breece. Appreciate you very much. Jets do not win the football game, though. A 1-point loss to the Colts, who are now 5-6 and still hanging on to dear life. Anthony Richardson, again, showing that mobility. He's definitely a big, powerful guy. Man, he is a big dude. He's huge. And the Colts end up winning the football game. So let's keep going. How much are we going to talk about the Colts and the Jets? I think back in the day you could have. This is a classic black and blue matchup. I mean, you just think about bruises. You think about Pittsburgh and Baltimore. The black versus the purple. That just sounds like bruises, doesn't it? Purple and black. Boom, boom, boom. 18-16, the Pittsburgh Steelers are winning the division just like they used to with Ben Roethlisberger. A younger Ben Roethlisberger that didn't have to sit out half of the season with shoulder injuries and stuff. Or, like he'd be in, he'd be out, he'd be in, he'd be out. And Russell Wilson threw for 205 yards and an interception. He wasn't exactly great, but he was good enough. And Jackson was kind of relegated to being frustrated. He threw an interception, 1 touchdown, 207 yards, but only completed about half of his passes. In fact, less than half. So, great pass defense overall by Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh is a defensive team no matter how you look at them. Though a few years ago, they were giving up like 1 billion yards, and Ben Roethlisberger was throwing for like 400 every week. It was a weird situation going on there. It was kind of like the Saints years ago. Derrick Henry did get in the end zone once, but also fumbled. Yeah, what the heck? Pittsburgh, though, getting the job done versus the Baltimore Ravens. They are 8-2, just like the Vikings. Incredible surprise this year. Pittsburgh's definitely the surprise of the AFC because, I mean, a lot of us saw the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, maybe they'll get in as some wild card, but they might get in as with some home field action going on. They are winning that division, and they probably just about got it because they beat Baltimore and they're 2 games ahead. So, very impressive overall run by the Pittsburgh Steelers. It ain't over yet or anything, but impressive. I did not see that one coming. I really didn't. Falcons heading to Denver. I'm not sure what happened here. Denver is now 6-5. Denver Broncos 38. Atlanta 6. What the hell happened to the Falcons? Michael Penix Jr. completed half of his passes, 4 attempts, 2 completions. Exciting. Kirk Cousins attempted 27 passes, 18 completions, and an interception. Bo Nix looked like Peyton Manning, at least on paper. 307 yards, only 5 incompletions all day. 28 of 33, 4 touchdowns. Bo Nix. What's going on? What's going on here? They absolutely destroyed the Atlanta Falcons. And Raheem Morris is the defensive coach. They absolutely destroyed the Falcons. Wow. Cortland Sutton, you think, how many touchdowns did he get? 0? Okay, that's weird. You think that's weird? Well, Lil Jordan Humphrey, that's weird too. 52 yards, a touchdown. Marvin Mims Jr., 2 catches, 49 yards, touchdown. Troy Franklin, okay, 2 catches, 15 yards, touchdown. Nate Atkins, 1 catch, 12 yards, touchdown. 1 target as well, by the way. It's kind of weird. It's very weird. Will Lutz was busy kicking extra points, and he made all of them. And he made a field goal, too. Good for him. But a wild, crazy game. Atlanta, just garbage. Absolutely bottoming out in this one. 38-6. I mean, that's when you just come home and like, what the hell just happened here, guys? Like, what was that? That was poo. I don't know if it's the orange jerseys of Denver or what, but that was poo, man. Absolute poo. 38-6. But you got to see Michael Penix. You got to see Michael Penix throw 4 passes and complete 2 of them. Exciting. Extremely exciting. And you lost by 32 points. That's freaking horrible. San Francisco hosting the Seattle Seahawks. And they're in last place in their division now. What the hell, San Francisco? 20-17. They lose, and now the tiebreaker belongs to the Sea Chickens, who are also 5-5 in the season. I mean, I don't know. You saw the press conference with Shanahan, and he's just kind of looking down. Got the hat on, kind of like letting the bill cover his eyes and his face a bit. That's kind of how I'd feel too. Like, I don't know, just not enough here, man. Just not enough. Christian McCaffrey, 19 yards, 19 rushes, 79 yards. Also, something in the air, but nothing special. They just struggled the whole day. Only 159 yards for Purdy. He had the grape jelly interception. Did throw for 1 TD. He also ran in the ball once. And my guy over there in San Francisco, Juwan Jennings, 91 yards and 10 catches. He's the number 1 receiver now, and a touchdown. Good job, Juwan Jennings. Jordan Mason, I keep getting that backwards. Only 2 rushes today. I don't know. You could mix him in. You could give him that Cam Akers role. Hopefully the Vikings keep doing that. Somebody named Jackson Smith Najba. I don't think I'm pronouncing it right. 110 yards and 10 catches. Kenneth Walker, the third, got in the end zone once and 54 yards on the ground. Geno Smith only threw an interception, didn't throw a single touchdown, 221 yards. Nothing special from either quarterback or either offense. The defenses played fairly well in the game, but then Seattle escaped late in the game. Geno Smith was able to run the ball in from 13 yards out with 18 seconds remaining, and San Francisco could not get into field goal range to tie the game up, and they end up losing, unfortunately. The 49ers lose. Nick Bosa with a sack and a half, Leonard Floyd with a sack and a half. But it just wasn't enough, and the 49ers are 5-5. Bummer, dudes. That is a bummer. Next week's opponent is the Bears, and we'll talk about them last, of course. Wow. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions for a minute here, the NFC North Roundup. I know. Again, somebody let me know out there, do you like the NFL Roundup or not? Do you want it to just be NFC North, maybe a notable NFL game or two, or do you like the fact that I do an NFL Roundup in the second segment? Is it too long? Is it boring? Does it make the show boring? Or is it fun and entertaining to listen to? Somebody please tell me something. Somebody out there. Be it Gerald String, Tanae Brown, Mark Carlson, Mike Dale. Somebody say something, please. I'd love to know. Or, again, anybody out there that, you haven't introduced yourself to me yet. Otherwise, Malcolm Extreme, Sam Gupta, Mad Martin, any of you, do you like the NFL Roundup, or should I shrink it down to NFC North and maybe a highlight or make them like a interesting game or two or something like that? Maybe like game or two of the week or something. Otherwise, this would be an interesting one no matter what. Detroit 52, Jacksonville, last week's opponent. You know, they managed 7 points against the Vikings last week. Well, they only managed 6 this week, and Detroit got 52. The Vikings had 12 last week. Detroit had 52. That is a 40-point difference. Easy math, of course. Wow. I just don't know what to tell you. I just don't know. And you realize Jacksonville led 3-0 at one point in this game. Detroit couldn't muster anything until about 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Yeah. And then they just went to town on the Jacksonville defense like you've never seen. You know how Jacksonville's defense got tired last week? Oh, yeah, and there's another Cam. That's Cam Little, and I joked about that last week. Kicker of the Jacksonville tiny little mites. Lions ate the mites. Absolutely crushed them. You know, it's two fierce-looking animals, a jaguar versus a lion. Two cats going at it. And it's like one, again, is like a tiny little mouse versus, you know, the lion, the king of all cats. Emperor cat. They say king of the jungle, but whatever it is. King of the jungle, king of everything. Detroit went up 28-3 late. Well, yeah, 28-3 late in the second quarter. And then Cam Little was able to get Jacksonville back on the scoreboard. All right, they got into field goal range. 35 yards out. They couldn't get a touchdown, unfortunately. They ran out because of the time remaining at the Detroit 17. The kick is in. Cam Little gets Jacksonville back on the scoreboard, baby. And after that, well, Detroit just kind of kept sticking the dagger in deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Three touchdown passes for Jared Goff. You know that guy in the second half. Jamison Williams, yes, Brock Wright, and Ra St. Brown. Rolls right off your tongue. And then Jake Bates kind of adds injury to insult. 54-yard kick by Detroit, like they really needed to do that. But they did. They decided, what the hell? I mean, hey, well then stop us if you don't like it. Well, then stop us. Like somebody jacking up a three-pointer like 10 feet behind the line, and it goes in when you're already way ahead. And then the other coach is like, F you, bleep you, you bleeping bleepers. And that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of what that seems like. But, well, then stop them. If you don't like it, stop them. Well, fine. Jared Goff for the second perfect game in his career. First perfect game. Not perfect in like 100% completion, but perfect quarterback rating because, well, he threw for 412 yards, 24 of 29, pardon me. No interceptions, did not lose a fumble, 4 touchdown passes, 158.3. And this Hendon Hooker guy also entered the game, attempted 4 passes, completed 3 of them for 37 yards. Sick, absolutely sick. David Montgomery, the former BL, 15 rushes, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs once again, end zone again for JG. A touchdown on 69 yards, 6.3 carry. Outstanding. Detroit absolutely looks like the best team in the world right now. Zadarius Smith, former Viking and Cleveland Brown and Green Bay Packer, ends up with a half a sack. Good for him. Kirby Joseph didn't injure anyone this time, I hope, but he did get a sack. And I'll say again, I hope he didn't injure anybody. The other Campbell, not Dan, but Jack Campbell, shared the sack with Zadarius, as people call him. So, good for those guys. Jacksonville, absolutely, probably about 98% chance we're going to hear the firing tomorrow morning of Doug Peterson, unfortunately. I remember that defensive coordinator last week. I was thinking, well, boy, they really held on for him. You know, because Jacksonville had one of the weaker defenses in the league. Only 2 interceptions all year. They get 3 on Sam Darnold. Made him look like an idiot last week. And then this week, perfect quarterback rating. It's like reality really set in for Jacksonville. A team that got absolutely humiliated. There's no chance Doug Peterson survives this. If he did, I'd be shocked. If they just say, hey, you know, Doug Peterson's our coach, at least for the rest of this year, I'd be like, okay, sure he is. We'll find out, though. Otherwise, next week's opponent is the Bears. And, yeah, well, we're not going to babble too much of the history if I can help it. And I have to say thank you always, and I mean always and forever. The Football Database, thank you very much. FootballDB.com, thank you very much for having this history here for us. We really appreciate it. The Vikings were on a 5-game win streak leading into last year's debacle, 12 to 10 loss in the U.S. Bank Stadium. Josh Dobbs stuck in big time at that stage, I believe, after a couple of nice games against the Saints and the Jaguars. Saints and the Falcons, excuse me. Vikings 6-6 at the time. Somehow we were 6-6 because we got a nice run for a minute there. The Vikings losing to the Bears with Josh Dobbs at quarterback. Yep, 4 interceptions. He was just god awful in that one. Definitely Josh Dobbs was bringing home the Ponder Memorial in that recent game, and Alexander Madison somehow had a decent game for the most part, 52 yards on the ground, but did not get in the end zone. Justin Fields was not all that much better, a couple more yards throwing and all that, but whatever, awful game, 12 to 10 in U.S. Bank Stadium. Yuck. And the Bears made, what am I looking at? The Bears made 4 field goals to beat the Vikings. It was a field goal battle, basically. T.J. Hawkinson did get a touchdown catch, but the Vikings end up losing the football game. I'm so confused right now. Yeah, it was kind of a field goal battle. I mean, Joseph only made 1 kick. What am I talking about? I feel like an idiot. It was all Carlos Santos. Yeah, he made 4 field goals. Greg Joseph made a 34-yarder, whatever it was, right at halftime to tie the game up. Yeah, it was just an awful first half. And I remember so well. Josh Dobbs was what he was. But let's look at today's game a little bit. The oldest rivalry in the NFL, 100+ years. They played each other over 100 times. The Bears lose again. Was it 4 straight games? No, they were 4-2. Remember, they're now 4-6. Green Bay with another insanely lucky win, to say the least. Back-to-back weeks with blocked field goals to help them win the game. And today there was another blocked field goal at the end. If the Bears would have won the game, they were in position to potentially win it. But the Bears end up not beating the Packers in Soldier Field, unfortunately. And it's just reality setting in for us all at the end of the day. We'll look at the players. Caleb Williams will be our first time to play against Caleb Williams. He threw for 231 yards on 31 attempts, completing 23. Jordan Love was relegated to only 17 attempts throwing the ball, 13 completions, 1 touchdown, and 1 INT, because he's known to do that. He leads the league in interceptions now, and now he's ahead of Sam Darnold, so good. Something Sam Darnold does not want is to lead the league in interceptions. Josh Jacobs, 76 yards on the ground and got in once. Jordan Love also got in on 4 rushes, 18 yards. Christian Watson, 158 yards in the air for the Packers. Big-time performance. He was a pain in the ass versus the Vikings as well. Otherwise, DeAndre Swift, the former Detroit Lion, just like David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift, kind of changing places there. Interdivision action going on. DeAndre Swift, who will be the running back we're going up against next week. 5.1 a carry and 71 yards and a touchdown. Very solid performance. And Rashawn Johnson also on 10 carries, 33 yards, got in the end zone once. Caleb Williams definitely mobile, and something the Vikings will have to worry about. If you're going to flush him out of the pocket, you better bring him down quick. What was he sacked 9 times last week, though? So hopefully the Vikings could go to town with that pass rush. Caleb Williams, 9 rushes, 70 yards. Pretty good. Santos missed one of his field goals today. McManus didn't have to do anything but kick extra points. I don't understand. This is not Detroit. This is Green Bay. Not Detroit. It's not Detroit. But the Bears defense can be good. Sometimes they got only 1 sack, one from DeMarcus Walker for the Bears in today's game. Remember, the Bears gave up 9 sacks last week. This week, 3 on Caleb Williams, and they still lose by, a blocked kick is basically what happened. Maybe he would have made it, maybe he wouldn't have, but it was a block kick by the Green Bay Packers to get themselves to 7-3. Thankfully, they're still behind the Vikings, so the Packers still hanging around in 3rd place, but still very much in the hunt for a postseason berth. Very much Chicago's chances of making the playoffs now are slim to none, to say the least. He's a rookie quarterback. As good as Caleb Williams could be, he is a rookie. So you can't get all that excited. Sorry for the pause there. Having my sip of coffee here, even though I shouldn't. But yeah, I can drink coffee and still sleep, believe me. Especially after working my ass off like all week. No rest for the wicked. So yeah, 7 days in a row. It's a lot of fun. I just love working 7 days in a row. This is like a pleasure just to be able to do this instead. Oh, and I missed the most important game of all. Yeah, I'm really sorry. I'll get back to this really quick. Buffalo beats the Chiefs 30-21. But you know what sucks? You know what really frickin' sucks? Well, see, the Buffalo Bills are 9-2, which is great. Hopefully they can get home field advantage, which would make a huge difference in the AFC Championship game, should they be fortunate enough to get there, and unfortunate enough to have to kick off versus the Chiefs in that game. Hopefully someone else knocks them out first. But the Bills, Josh Allen era, are undefeated versus the Chiefs in the regular season, and it's like the opposite going the other way in the postseason. The Chiefs own the Bills in the playoffs, so it's really annoying. So, yep, the Bills always win in the regular season and then always lose in the playoffs. Hopefully that can change this time around. Hopefully the Bills can answer that and finally get past the stupid-ass Chiefs. So, like back in 93, a mediocre to above-average Bills team beat a, Chiefs team with the legendary quarterback named Joe Montana in the AFC title game, in a game that was pretty one-sided. Buffalo got through really easy, but then got absolutely obliterated in the Super Bowl. Yeah, it was stupid. I hated seeing the Bills lose to the frickin' Cowboys 2 years in a row. It was depressing, but that's how it went. 4 straight Super Bowls, that was the 4th one. This team, though, I think if they got to the Super Bowl, their chances of winning would be sky high. Hopefully, if it's against us, though, the Vikings would beat them. But I don't know. Buffalo's 9-2. The Chiefs finally lose their first game of the year, and good frickin' riddance. But again, maybe it'll be like the opposite of last year, where the Chiefs looked like the ever beatable team last year, just kind of a down year. They're not that great. And then as the season came to the end and got into the playoffs, the Chiefs just wouldn't lose. They just won and won and won and won. No matter how out they looked, they still ended up winning, and then went all the way into the Super Bowl. Looked like San Francisco had the Sons of Biscuits, and they still didn't have them. The end never came. That interception, that sack, that tipped away, that pass that got tipped away on 4th down, it just never happened. The Chiefs stayed alive and stayed alive. Like the Bee Gees song, staying alive, staying alive. It was so frustrating. Patrick Mahomes, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Josh Allen, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Nothing sexy really from either quarterback. I guess 3 touchdowns is pretty good. Stupid idiot had 2 catches and 8 yards. Good. Keep him exactly like that. Less and less of a factor. Keep stupid idiot where he is. Noah Gray did get 2 touchdowns on 23 total yards and 4 catches. And Xavier Worthy with 4 catches, 61 yards and a touchdown for the Chiefs. Curtis Samuel with 1 touchdown, 58 yards on 5 catches. Josh Allen ran the ball in once, and James Cook on only 20 yards and 9 carries got the ball in 2 times into the end zone with a Mo Williams type of game. 22 yards and 2 touchdowns. Remember Mo Williams of the Vikings. Back to the Bears. Apologize. So I kind of had to do that because it's the freaking Chiefs and Bills. I mean, that's like AFC Championship game written all over it. Let's get to the Bears and the Vikings. I apologize. I just felt like I knew I was missing something. It was obvious, right? Well, yeah, I did miss something. On to the Bears, and again, this is leading into next week's game, if I can get it to load. This will be at Soldier Field. Yep, back-to-back Soldier Field games in the division. Nooner, Sunday, November the 24th, leading into Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving coming up eventually, but we'll be saying that more next week. Well, where do we go from here, boys? Where do we go from here? Unfortunately, the stats all are before today's game. That's the annoying part, but it is what it is. Neither team really put up numbers that would change everything so much one way or another. It's not like we gave up 50 points or scored 50 points or anything crazy like that. It was kind of an average day for both teams, basically, for both of the teams, sorry. Vikings are 10th in the league in points scored. The Bears are 24th. Total yards, the Vikings are 13th. This is on the offensive side. The Bears are 30th. Oof, 277 yards. 30th in total yards. The other offense sucks. Passing yards per game, Vikings are 11th. The Bears are 30th. And yes, that's a rookie quarterback being a rookie quarterback, folks. Rushing yards per game, the Vikings are 16th, right in the middle. Bears are in the bottom fourth, 24th. Oof. Time of possession, Vikings are 10th. And it's only about a minute and 9-second difference, but I guess it's huge. Vikings are 10th and the Bears are 17th. Points against defensively, Vikings and Bears. Vikings are the third stingiest team in football. Bears are 7th, still pretty good. Total yardage against per game, the Vikings are 11th. The Bears 13th, again leading into today's game. I don't imagine much of a change here. Passing yards against the Vikings are 26th. We give up a lot of passing yards, partially because we're ahead. That's one thing you got to think about in that kind of statistic. Also, again, the secondary is funky. One week it's good, the next week it sucks. But luckily, hopefully, you're going to get that big turnover that'll wrap the game up by like a Byron Murphy Jr. or a Harrison Smith ringing it in and wrapping things up. Or Stephon Gilmore. Rushing yards against. Okay, sorry, the Vikings are 26th and passing yards against the Bears are 7th. Not bad. Rushing yards against the Vikings are 2nd in the league. Only 79. Bears are 24th. 24th. Sacks. The Vikings have 29, but after today, there's 5 more. So we're at 34. So I'm guessing we're probably a little higher than 6 now. But that's pretty nice. That's a nice statistic one way or another. We're like 5th, 6th around there. The Bears are 14th leading into today's game. Interceptions, the Vikings are number 1 in the league. Now it's 16 instead of 15, and the Bears are 11th at 8. So watch out. Hopefully Darnold can protect the ball reasonably well. If there's a single interception, I guess it is what it is. We'll look at history a little bit here. Yeah, the Vikings had won 5 games in a row before last season's debacle. 4 interceptions by Josh Dobbs. Vikings had lost 4 in a row. I remember in the the coach era. What was his name? What was it? Matt Nagy, excuse me. The Matt Nagy era when Khalil Mack was at his best. 2018, the Bears should have done more than they did. Instead of double doinking and losing in the first round, that was depressing. It's a pretty good team, and the way they lost was kind of sad. It's been an up and down matchup over the years. Like it's streaks, like up Vikings are better, up Bears are better, up Vikings are better, up Bears are better. In the 80s, especially the early part of the 80s, 84, 85, 86, the Bears owned the Vikings in a big way. Even though the 86 Vikings were pretty good, and they beat the Bears 23-7 in one of those games. That ended a 6-game losing streak to the Bears, dating back to 83 when the Vikings sucked big time. 84 was when the Vikings sucked. I keep getting that mixed up. We did get beat in both of those games, yes, including a 34-3 debacle on November 25th, 1984. 34-3. Oof. Yep. Les Steckel's one-and-done year. Bud Grant returned and lost to the Bears twice. Yep. Lost to the Bears twice because it was the 85 Bears. Hello. 15-1 team. You're not going to do a whole lot against that team. We all know what happened. What was it? The NFC title game. The team got the Bears' opponent got like 5 yards. I think it was the Rams, if I remember correctly. They got like 5 yards the whole game. It was crazy how great that Bears defense was in that cold January day. It's been an intriguing matchup over the years. Obviously, the Vikings and Bears go all the way back to the beginning of the Vikings' history, 1961. First time they ever played each other was September 17th, 1961. And who won the game? The Vikings. Wow. 37-13. The Vikings won. And the Vikings do lead the all-time series because of the 70s and some good moments in the 80s and such. But the 70s, the Vikings won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in a row over the Bears from 1972 up to 1976. And then the Bears won by a point in Soldier Field in 1976 on Halloween. Happy Halloween, Viking fans. Na boo boo. They got their trick. But again, the ups and downs, like the Dick Duran era, the Bears swept the Vikings in 2001. It was an awful Vikings team in 21. Awful. Dennis Green got fired, and nobody really felt bad for him because he made a jerk of himself the whole year. But yes, ups and downs. The Vikings and Bears Bears were kind of the Bears oftentimes were beating the Vikings, especially in Soldier Field, until finally 2012. Nope, that was the same thing. Vikings beat the Bears in 2015. That was extremely exciting. In 2015, we finally beat them in Chicago. That was like, yes, we like never beat them there. It seems like, even though no, we have beaten them there. 2017, we beat them. That was a big one. When what's his name became the starter, that would be what's his face, Case Keenum. Vikings had lost 4 in a row, and I already mentioned this though. 18 and 19, the Matt Nagy era when they were looking good for a minute. Khalil Mack was running over people, all of that. So, there's that. The Vikings all-time leading series 66, 58, and 2. I do believe we only had one playoff game ever with this club, and that was that awful 94 season when the Bears romped all over the Vikings on New Year's Day. Warren Moon's first season in Minnesota, and he looked, it wasn't a good day at all. Steve Walsh and the Bears crushed the Vikings in the Metrodome 35-18. The only playoff game these two teams have ever played, the Bears crushed the Vikings. All those hopes of Warren Moon's the quarterback. Now we got this, the best defense in the league, and Terry Allen's coming back. Oh my God, we got Carter and Jake Reed. Look at this offense. And we were 10-6. And Warren Moon was an interception machine and a turnover machine. And the Bears, even though he swept them in the regular season, took care of business in the Metrodome. Ouch. And they got their ass handed to them the next week by the 49ers, who went on to win the Super Bowl. But I digress. Yeah, they did. They were the best team in the world at that time. And it's the last time the Niners have won anything. Damn it. Except for NFC title games, of course. 66, 58, and 2 Vikings lead the all-time series. And I do believe the Vikings next week will continue to add to that series. And, it'll be 5 out of the last 6 games. Nope, 6 out of the last 7 games would be going to the Vikings. If the Vikings win next week versus the Caleb Williams-led Chicago Bears, I do expect the pass rush to get something done, maybe 4 to 5 sacks in the game once again. It's a golden opportunity against an offensive line that's not real good. A rookie quarterback that might be indecisive at times, frustrated a bit, maybe some turnovers, but we'll see how that goes. The Bears might get some turnovers on Darnold. We'll see. They're one of the better defenses in the league. There's no doubt. They're not great, but they're good. It's a good defense. It's not a great one. It's a good defense. They're 8th in the league in interceptions. No, 11th in the league. Sorry, 14th in sacks. So not elite, but they're above average, basically. Vikings will win the football game though. Lower scoring. Final score 27 to 17. Vikings win by 10 again. This time over the Bears in Soldier Field, 27-17. Sam Darnold, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Unfortunately, don't be surprised if that happens. The run defense is not real good. Cam Akers has a big one, I think. I think Cam Akers gets in the end zone with a rushing touchdown rather than a receiving one. Maybe a receiving one, too. But Cam Akers will... passing yards, they're 7th in the league. But again, teams are usually leading versus the Bears too. But they do have one of the better secondaries, to be fair. It's a decent secondary in Chicago. It's kind of always been that way. It seems like forever, going back to at least Peanut Tillman, if not much, much, much further into the 80s and all that good stuff. In fact, yes, absolutely. Bears have been up and down over the years overall, but, it is what it is. Vikings win by 10. I think Cam Akers gets over 50 yards next week. What do you think of that prediction? A little bit wild and crazy. But Sam Darnold, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, unfortunately. But the Vikings win by 10, 27-17. Cam Akers' number will be on the score for the Vikings, and he will get 50 yards and a touchdown. Just for my little bet, I guess. It doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of for fun, but the Vikings will win. With that, we'll take a quick break and jump into fan interaction at long last. And we are back here on Purple Mafia Fan Interaction. Looks like no call once again. I wonder if we'll even, do you realize the first call, or the next call I get, will be the first one this season? It's pretty crazy to think about. I hope I haven't been missing any. And if I have, please say something immediately. If, if Mad Martin, Dave Martin, if you've been calling in, please say something. I mean, I'll be really mad at myself if I miss your call. That would suck. Looks like some pretty good comments on Facebook. I love that. Interesting. Got 4 tickets for sale. What's going on there? No idea. We'll move on from that in a moment. Let's get to the Twitter account now. At Purple Mafia Show. At Purple Mafia Show. Yep, we heard from Mad Martin a bit last week. Nothing this week. I was very quiet on Twitter, unfortunately. But thankfully, there is Tanae Brown. Said Aaron Jones looks really out of it so far today. Yeah, he was disappointing, to say the least. I was not happy with Aaron Jones at all. I liked what we saw from Akers for a minute there. Again, like that's my guy. But unfortunately, again, later on, as the game progressed, none of the running backs were good, generally speaking. And Tennessee's defense is pretty good. Unfortunately, the Chargers are up, say, 21-6, and they still have the ball and everything. Cincinnati's just, I don't know. It's again like now I'm forgetting the guy's name, the backup quarterback there in Cincinnati who was at Minnesota for a while. Like he might get out there again. You remember when Burrow had the major injury last year and couldn't play the rest of the year? I don't know. I'm just kind of sad about the whole thing. What was the guy's name again? Jake Browning. Yes, Jake Browning. I don't know. Has he thrown the ball yet this year for the Bengals? Yes. 2 games, 1 attempt. It's probably mostly been kneel down, victory. Well, not victory formation. Watching the other team do it. Jake Browning. Yep. 28 years of age, coming out of Washington. Yep, former Viking, but didn't ever put up a statistic for the Vikings. He was mostly on the practice squad and emerged as a pretty decent quarterback for the Bengals last year, but nothing overly special, to say the least. Why are they showing rushing? Like, he's not a running back. I want to see his overall numbers. So stupid. Yeah, passing. 1,000. Yeah, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. It's like, it's like an average quarterback, basically. But, again, it's better than nothing. Better than nothing. I don't know why I'm looking at Cincinnati here. But, yeah, unfortunately, that's it for Twitter. Really quiet. But one exciting note that I will mention right now, this is a real account. The Gallahorn has followed Purple Mafia. Thank you, Gallahorn. That would be representing the horn at U.S. Bank Stadium. Is it the real one? I mean, because if it is, that's really cool. Bringing you Vikings news, opinions, disagreements, and other NFL news. Fan since 92, Chris Carter is wide receiver 1 in our hearts. Check out the podcast. How dare you? Okay, just kidding. Hopefully you listen to this one too. Gallahorn. Yeah, maybe I'll give it a check. Check out mine if you could, Gallahorn, just in case you're listening. It's a cool name. Absolutely, it's the horn. At first I thought it might be actually like something representing the horn, but I guess that's a Vikings podcast. But they do have that check mark next to their name. 6,253 followers, which is unfortunately more than what I have. But I appreciate each and every one of you that are legitimate followers. I really appreciate you a lot. Of course, again, I do believe this profile has been shadow banned multiple times because it's like the number never changes. It's just kind of, it only seems to go down a little bit. And I don't know. It's weird. Where like all the other shows I do, there's always like a little bit of growth. Grows about as fast as the hair grows on a moose's something, but it still grows. Let's say annoyed Mad Martin and he left, and I hope he didn't. No. I don't know. I wonder what happened to Mad Martin this week. He's been kind of in and out, but still following. Thank you very much. Yeah, he's an awesome guy. I love hearing from Mad Martin. I love hearing from Tanae Brown out of New Zealand. There's no doubt. He was quiet last week. But that's how it is. People get busy or whatever. Heck, I mean, I was busy after the game today, so I couldn't do the show right away. And I'm tired as heck, to be fair. Okay, so where am I going? Twitter's already done. But again, thank you, Tanae, very much. In-game thread. I'm always hoping I do this in somewhat order. Looks like this will get it started. Well, I'll mention Charlotte Henry was saying she's got 4 tickets for sale. but that was like while the game was on. So I don't know. That was some kind of joke or a fake account or something. Mike Dale out of the state of New York, not the city, says, I hope Darnold's decline doesn't continue where he has seemingly exceeded his Vikings shelf life and surpassed his expiration date. I just don't understand how a guy can just suddenly flip a switch in his head where he all of a sudden can't see safeties or inside linebackers when throwing over the middle. What was he doing or wasn't doing in his first 5 games that he's not doing now? It's possible that defensive coordinators have wised up on how to play him and confuse him, but they have no control of his now inexplicable wild inaccuracy when throwing the ball. Is he slumping and can come out of it? Well, hopefully so, because it looked like it today. Let's hope so, because I really have no real desire to see Nick Mullins on the field. Yeah, because last week, Sam Darnold might as well have been Nick Mullins. I mean, that's what it felt like versus Jacksonville. But unlike Nick Mullins, we actually won the football game. Whereas Nick Mullins, it was just almost like somehow, some way we'd find a way to lose if Nick Mullins was the quarterback, even if he did have some sexy numbers. The unsexy number called an interception of 4 was devastating versus Detroit last year. Mark Carlson says it's just about kick time, and speaking of kickoffs, the new rules are wrecking the game. That'd be the kickoffs. Yep, I don't like it. Yeah, me neither, Mark, from Iowa, of course. When the kicker has booted the ball and all the players are just still, it's ugly and boring. Teams are still booting the ball into the end zone, and if you needed an onside kick, you have to announce it. Let's just get back to football, please. So quickly, before I continue, I agree with everything you said. Yes, they should just put it back the way it was. They should put it back the way it was. I don't know what the heck the point of all that is. I don't know if it's player safety, like how weird random injuries happen. But I remember somebody was hurt right away today with Jacksonville. I don't think it was like a major devastating injury, but sometimes things happen. I mean, nobody's rooting for anyone to get hurt. I hate the Chiefs, but I don't want Mahomes to get hurt, or even Kelsey. I just want Kelsey to retire and go away and be quiet. I want the Chiefs to stop winning. I don't necessarily want them, getting carted off and never be the same player again. Like, that'd be kind of sad at the end of the day. It would be kind of sad if something like that happened to certain players. And I don't want that to happen. So I don't want to jinx anybody. No matter how much I dislike him, I don't want him to get hurt. Next, I was not rooting for Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre to get hurt, believe me, or Jordan Love. Next, but yes, I agree with you 1,000%, Mark. Continuing in the same comment. All right, now let's go Vikings. Get that killer defense rolling. And they pretty much did, didn't they? Please no Mr. Potato for this game. No interceptions. No. Skull. Purple Mafia, Minnesota Vikings showing worldwide. Well, the defense did get rolling, and Mr. Potato was not the case today. That was great. Mark Carlson continues saying, I'm not sure what has transformed this team from kick-ass first-quarter team to a kind of find-their-ass first-quarter team. Yeah, it was kind of weird. They have been finding their ass, haven't they? Or having to find their ass. But thankfully they did find their ass at some point. Mike Dale says Van Ginkel is ginking and doing what he does best. At least after gauging the first half, it looks like Darnold is rebounding. However, we know that often the second half isn't exactly his forte. Here's hoping he goes from strength to strength. And I would say Darnold did. He didn't have a perfect game or anything. Only Goff did that, I guess. But Jared Goff, good Lord. But he had a pretty good game, did Sam Darnold. So he got the Fran Award. Felt pretty good. 2 comments in the post-game thread. I think it says 2. I'm only seeing, okay, there they are. There they are. No Mike Dale. Oh, man, bummer. I love when Mike Dale has his pros and cons, but maybe not this week, I guess, or he didn't see it, or got busy. Who knows? It's a bummer. There's Akers' touchdown. That was nice to see. And then the Bears, getting their field goal blocked, and screw you. Anyhow, Mark Carlson says, all of America right now is rooting for Buffalo. Amen. And I want Buffalo to do it in the postseason this time, though. Please get it done in the postseason. Please. Continuing, Mark says, okay, Purple Mafia show, staff, we defeated the Littles. Yep, like the Littles instead of the Titans. or shore people, or whatever you said Tennessee was on the last Purple Mafia episode. Yeah, I think it was like the little people or something like that. I was saying, yeah, and then Mark continues, says, I got to say, I wasn't sure if the Vikings would get going. When it was announced that Darnold was coming to Minnesota, the family here called him a potato, but he played so well. And then he started to fumble and throw interceptions, so the name was reinstated. Salute to the Vikings defense today, limiting the score. Love that Rock Valley, Iowa defensive player Van Ginkel, who mowed my friend's yard when he was a teenager. Wow, did you ever meet him? That's really cool. I like that. That's really cool, man. Skull, Mark from Iowa. So Andrew Van Ginkel mowed Mark's friend's yard when he was a teenager. That's awesome. So Andrew Van Ginkel, well, so I guess he's like a brother in the lawn service industry, huh? He's like our little brother, huh? Isn't that cool? For me, it's a second job. It's not a main profession. Many years ago, when I was in my teenage years, it was the main profession. Yes, or main job, we'll call it. Now, yeah, it's been a second job for a long time, but still, 30 years. Yep, it's a very long time. My wrist, well, both of my wrists are telling me maybe you should step away, but and it ain't just the wrists, but for some reason my left wrist has been hurting, and that was the healthy one. No, come on, left wrist, heal up, and get strong like my right wrist. Yep, my right wrist has been strong lately, and that's wonderful considering, went through a couple of surgeries on the right wrist in the past. So anyhow, we'll move on from all that. I really want to thank you guys for interacting with this show. Missing Gerald. I didn't mention that last week. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't mention Gerald? Oh, what's wrong with me? Yeah, very much missing Gerald, very much missing Mad Martin. I missed the Mike Dale post-game thread. I mean, those are awesome. Really appreciate Mark's post-game thread, though. He gets the gold star for this episode, there's no doubt. Great. Mike Dale and Tony Brown bringing in the silver and bronze. Thank you guys so much. Love hearing from you. I really do. Anybody out there that you listen to the show but haven't interacted in a while, like a Brent Jacobson. I miss hearing from Brent Jacobson one way or another. Some of the others that have been out there. Obviously, Malcolm McSween. I'd love to hear from you more often. Do you still listen regularly, Malcolm? Justin Day. Purple Diary. Yep, does a great job. Justin Day has been around for a long time. I guess he's been listening all these years, but doesn't interact as much. He's got his own show. He does a great job. Check him out on YouTube. Justin Day. He's really good. Yes. Yes, he is. And he's well known out there, too. Like the guys that Score North know Justin Day. So they do. Otherwise, just want to thank all of you so much, that have been listening to the show and have been around for as long as you have. I wish I could hear from you more often, though. Some of you. The ones that have been pretty consistent for the most part, God bless you guys so much. Follow this show on Spotify, possibly to help it grow. But either way, the fact that you're listening is a wonderful thing, one way or another. Spotify has been going through Spotify for podcasters instead of obviously Hipcast. That's way in the past now. It's been going through a lot of changes, updates and such. I don't know if all the numbers are capturing sometimes. It's kind of weird. United States, when it comes to the geographic location of the audience, United States 75%, China second, 13% China. So hello China, say hello to me somehow, some way. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Instagram is Purple Mafia Show, Twitter is Purple Mafia Show, and Facebook is facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. Australia's 4th place, only 2%. Bummer. United Kingdom is 3rd place out there. What did I just press? Yeah, it's like different now. It's acting differently. United Kingdom, 3rd place, 5%. Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. Ooh. Obviously, England, number 1, was 79% when it comes to the United Kingdom. Because a lot of us just automatically think United Kingdom, but yeah. Tiny bit of Philippines. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of different countries where it's like maybe a small amount of people. that listen to this show, but I appreciate very much. Spotify's the fourth place app that's used. Player FM's third. Interesting. And it still says web browser, but it's not number one anymore. It's back to Apple. I don't know what that web browser nonsense is all about. Amazon Alexa. Some people use that. Podcast Addict. iHeartRadio. CastBox. Spotify's fourth. So yeah, Player FM is a really nice app. I like it. I use it for certain shows that don't appear on Apple or Spotify. Nudge, nudge. Yeah. Because, yeah, shadow banning and bullcrap. It's kind of things I don't agree with. Obviously, I don't agree with people being shadow banned. I think that's bullcrap. But yes, we're getting closer and closer to Thanksgiving. Do some of you have your Christmas decorations up already? Wouldn't that be cool? I think I'm going to put up something this week, like at least a little, synthetic tree, I guess, since I can't have a real one in an apartment. Yeah, I'm probably going to be doing that very, very soon. Coming up, always looking forward to Christmas season, but also want to celebrate Thanksgiving as well. Again, I love that some people out there put like inflatable turkeys like that can light up at night. I think that's really cool to celebrate Thanksgiving. Maybe some people have like Snoopy and Woodstock and Charlie Brown characters in those pilgrim outfits. I mean, heck, there was a Thanksgiving episode of, there was a Thanksgiving episode years ago, Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving. I think that came out in 1973. Great cartoon. Garfield's Thanksgiving could go on forever. But this isn't even Thanksgiving week this week, where normally it would be. 17th of November, you'd think we're heading right into Thanksgiving here. But no, it's next week, which is crazy to think about. It's going to be that long away. So it's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. But I guess gives us more time to get the lawn service wrapped up and all of that. Not that we're like terribly behind, but we're not terribly ahead either, because it was wetter in the later stages of fall this year than it was earlier. It was nice and dry. I'll take the drought back. Thank you very much. I'll take the drought any day over a bunch of wetness, especially when we want to get work done. So that's been an insane frustration forever. But really thank all of you for listening. Thank you. Tell a friend about the show if you could. Put positive 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other apps out there where you can do that. They allow you to rate the show. Please, to help the algorithms go up. If you happen to be listening on YouTube, hit that like button. Please. It's greatly appreciated. Want to hear from you out there. It'd be great. So with that said, take care. God bless. And Skol Vikings. Let's beat those Chicago Bears.